stop. Before you blame destiny, people, or circumstances, you must understand. The wound hurting you the most is coming from the thoughts you refuse to face. I am Krishna, and I will show you the truth you've been avoiding. My child, come closer. Don't scroll. Don't rush. Don't pretend you're stronger than you feel right now. There is a part of you that has been whispering for an answer, a sign, a nudge to stop repeating what no longer serves you. That whisper brought you here. It wasn't an accident. It was a sign. For many of you, signs arrive softly at first. A number repeats on your clock, 1111, 222, 444. A phrase appears in a song at the exact moment you need it. A dream repeats with the same face or the same door. A stranger says one sentence that pins a new thought in your heart. Your body tightens in a situation, and your chest warns you, not this. Your gut flinches, and a quiet voice says, step back. But you explain it away. Logic, reason, convenience, love, fear, habit. And you keep walking toward what your higher self was trying to protect you from. Listen, those small signals are not random. They are the language of your soul. They are my nudges inside you. They are gentle radar guiding you away from what will weaken your future and toward what will strengthen your destiny. When you ignore that language, I repeat it with increasing insistence because destiny needs correction. When you still refuse, life raises its volume until the lesson becomes unavoidable. You will say, Krishna, why are the signs so subtle? Why do I miss them? Because growth begins quietly. Realignment is not a thunderclap, it is a persistent invitation. If you bruise your knee from walking into the same wall 3 times, will the instructor shout, or will they keep placing a hand on your shoulder until you lift your foot? I place my hand on your shoulder again and again. The world gives you patterns, people offer reflections, your heart gives you nudges. If you keep explaining the nudges away, the universe brings results that cannot be ignored. Hear this truth. The signs are not about proving me to you. They are about inviting you to become honest with yourself. For many souls, honesty is terrifying. Honesty demands change, loss, boundary, endings, and new beginnings. Fear prefers stories. I tried, it failed. Or, maybe they'll change. Or, this is how I am. Because stories postpone the pain of choice. So, the signs persist until your story meets the truth. You ignore signs for a reason. Often, it's a tender reason. You fear loneliness. You fear being wrong. You fear losing comfort. You fear the unknown. Sometimes it's pride. You want evidence, control, certainty. Sometimes it's shame. You don't want to admit you are wrong. But these fears are the very things the signs try to dissolve. The sign is the remedy. The choice to ignore the sign is the symptom. Think about the patterns in your life. The same heartbreak shape, the same financial trap, the same draining friendships, the same voice inside your head whispering, "This isn't it," while you argue, "Just one more chance." Why does life recycle the lesson? Because you practiced the response, not the learning. You answered the pattern with the same old choices. Therefore, the pattern returns with new furniture until you finally learn to refuse the old script. Now, let me show you how signs work practically, because many of you want to apply this right away. First, notice repetition. If you see the same numbers, phrases, dreams, or synchronistic people multiple times, stop and write it down. Signs become clearer when you honor them with attention. The act of noticing is itself a signal back to the soul. I am ready. Second, test how it lands in your body. Signs are experienced physically before they are understood mentally. Does your chest tighten? Do you feel a wave of peace? Does your stomach drop? Do your palms sweat? Your body is one of the purest senses of divine instruction. Learn its language. Third, ask one honest question. If I follow this sign, what will I lose? What will I gain? Often the answer shows where fear lies. If you follow the sign, you might lose someone's approval, a paycheck, or an identity you cling to. But what you gain is alignment. Less weight on the soul, less karmic repetition, more clarity and space for what belongs to you. Fourth, act. The sign without action is a gentle train whistle that goes unheard. When you feel the nudge, call the person, send the message, decline the meeting, leave the room, change the route, say the hard line, stop the habit. Do one small aligned thing. Action creates momentum. Momentum breaks cycles. Let me be clear. Signs are not always about dramatic endings. Sometimes they are invitations to repair, to apologize, to forgive, to set a boundary. Not every sign instructs flight. Some signs ask you to stay, but differently. The wisdom is in discerning whether the sign is asking you to go or to transform the way you are present. You might think, if these signs are from Krishna, why do I still feel doubt? Because human doubt is part of the schooling. Even Arjuna, standing on the battlefield, had fear. Divine signs do not erase your free will. They inform it. They illuminate the choice, but do not force your action. That is why clarity and courage must cooperate. I can point the way, but you must walk it. Now, a warning. Ignoring the signs does not mean the end of all hope. Ignoring prolongs necessary lessons and often increases the cost of awakening. When you ignore the whisper to leave a toxic situation, the cost might become a heartbreak so deep it rewires you. When you ignore the whisper to invest in your health, the cost could be your vitality. When you ignore the whisper to set a boundary, the cost could be years of resentment. These are not punishments, they are consequences. Consequences operate like medicine. Bitter, perhaps, but healers nonetheless. I will speak plainly. The louder signs are rarely random cruelty. They are the universe's firm but compassionate intervention. Think of a parent who warns a child away from a hot stove. If the child fails to listen, the child will feel a burn. The burn is painful, but it teaches the child what the parent's words could not. Similarly, divine insistence increases until the learning is completed. Our duty is to evolve without needing the burn. There is a practical spiritual habit I advise. Develop a morning silence of 5 to 10 minutes. In that small sanctuary, ask for clarity. Sit quietly and breathe. Often the signs will feel louder in the calm. Journaling afterward connects the whisper to language, and language helps you remember. This practice strengthens your connection to inner guidance. Over time, the small voice becomes steady, and the world becomes less chaotic because you receive more timely nudges. I must speak about relationships now, because many of you have lost sleep over whether someone is a sign or a mistake. If the same red flags appear, disrespect, disregard for your boundaries, emotional unavailability, against the backdrop of repeating signals that something is off, trust the pattern. The person who damages you in small, persistent ways is a teacher in disguise. They reveal where you stand in relation to self-worth. When a relationship consistently aligns with your higher self, it will feel nourishing, not depleting. Honor your self-preservation as divine wisdom, not selfishness. A note about fear. Sometimes the sign is to step into fear, not away from it. Perhaps you are being called to a courageous path. Change careers. Say the truth. Release an identity. Signs will not always whisper, "Run." They also whisper, "Grow." If the sign carries a sense of expansion, a trembling mixed with excitement, it may be a push toward destiny. The heart recognizes the difference between terror that drains and trembling that opens. I also need to mention the subtle way you sometimes misread signs. Confirmation bias. You hear what you hope to hear. This is why discernment is sacred. Cross-check the sign with your values, your long-term peace, and the counsel of wise people who know your heart. If multiple sources of wisdom converge, an inner nudge, a repeated dream, supportive counsel, that's the signal strengthened. Now, for those who find these messages helpful and wish to keep receiving them, if this channel has shifted something inside you, if a single line felt like a mirror, please consider supporting the work. A small contribution through Super Thanks or Buy Me a Coffee helps keep this sanctuary available for others who need a gentle hand in moments of confusion. I speak about this not to ask for obligation, but to remind you that when you share your gratitude materially, you help the medicine travel further. It creates more guided moments for more souls. Before I close, I need to address a truth many of you avoid hearing. Most people watch these messages and leave. 90% feel something, 60% feel moved. And yet, about 85% of the watchers don't subscribe, don't stay connected, and in doing so, they miss consistent guidance that could change repetition into release. If you felt seen, consider subscribing, not for me, for your future self. Subscribing is a simple ritual, a small promise to remain open to the signs that will one day save you years of sorrow. Remember, subscribing is not about numbers, it's about creating a reliable channel of remembrance. When life grows noisy, a reminder can bring you back to stillness. When the signs become confusing, a steady voice can help you discern. If this message reached you in a way nothing else has, anchor it. Hit subscribe. Stay in the circle. My child, let me give you practical actions for immediate alignment. For the next 7 days, each morning, write one sign you noticed the previous day and one small action you will take because of it. Small actions compound. When you feel a pull, pause. Breathe 3 full breaths. Ask your body what it feels. If your body says no, honor it. If your body says yes, take a step, however small. Set one boundary this week. Boundary is a sacred yes to self. Saying no protects your yes. Keep a sign journal. Over a month, you will see patterns emerging. Patterns produce clarity. Practice gratitude for signs you followed. Reinforce the neural pathway that trusting yourself is safe. Here is what will happen when you begin to follow signs. The noise around you will change. The people who wear heavy costumes will drift away. Doors that once slammed will begin to open at easier times. Your relationships will shift to people who respect your rhythm. Opportunities will come that align, seemingly effortless because your vibration now matches them. Destiny is not always dramatic. Often, it is a gentle slope into wholeness, and the signs are the handrail. Lastly, hear me tenderly. This path of listening is not about perfection. You will misread some signs. You will act prematurely sometimes, You will also be late sometimes. Forgive yourself quickly. The heart that notices and returns to alignment grows faster than the heart that punishes itself into paralysis. Compassion accelerates wisdom.
Type this into your heart now.
I will notice. I will act. I will trust. Say it aloud if you can. Let your breath seal it in your body. Let this be the beginning of a new conversation with your soul, one where you stop waiting for dramatic miracles and start honoring the quiet guidance that has always been yours. If this voice touched you, please commit to one small thing today. Subscribe so you won't miss the next nudge. If you feel moved, leave a super thanks or a small coffee contribution. This helps keep these messages alive for those who are still searching in the dark.
You were brought here for a reason.
The signs were not accidental. The feeling in your chest is a compass. Follow it with courage. The life waiting for you is quieter, kinder, truer. It requires only one decision at a time. I am with you always. I sit in the silence of your heart and the noise of your days. I point. You choose. Together, we walk.
Always loved.
Always guided. Always protected.